Hello and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts, a Centers for Spiritual Living teaching center. I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson. I am the founder and the spiritual director. Now, as you are sitting there joining us, you may have questions, any number of questions, such as, who am I? How did I get here? Spiritually integrated arts means what exactly? What is a teaching center? Well, what is Centers for Spiritual Living? What is that? What does that even mean? Or New Thought, or religious science, or science of mind and spirit? You may have any number of questions about this specific community, about the parent organization, CSL, our philosophy, our teaching, our liberation theology. Any number of questions. Feel free to send an email. We look forward to connecting more and building our virtual community, our global community. And if you haven't connected yet on social media, feel free to do so. This is your invitation now. Also, did you know that all of our Sunday messages are archived on our YouTube channel? You can watch it anytime. Now, questions about anything, such as becoming a member. What does that mean? What does membership entail? And if you live somewhere far and already belong to a spiritual community, can you be a member of more than one? The simple answer is yes, you can. Just like you can shop at more than one grocery store, you can attend or be a member of more than one gym. We are building beloved community. So you can do both. You can be a member of both. You can be involved with both. That's what being in spiritual community means. So we welcome you. We invite you. We are so appreciative that you have found this community and that you have joined us today. We bless you. We love you. We welcome you. Live long and prosper. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the rest of our Sunday message. Love you. Connect with you soon. Blessings. Namaste and greetings. As we close out the month of April, just a quick reminder that there are classes, and if you want more information about the classes, you want to register, etc., send an email just as a reminder. Have some good stuff coming up: storytelling, the art of, or the spiritual practice through the art of acting, the Joel Goldsmith series, yeah, from whence we came. So check in. Today we are talking about gentle cosmic-ness. So we've been talking about this idea of what it means to be gentle, and now we are expanding it. It's gentleness, but it's giant gentleness, not just a tiny little, it's giant gentleness. And today we're talking about the cosmic-ness of it. Gentleness is loving, it is supportive, it is nurturing. So when we are in this space of this energy of gentleness, how do we look at the various situations that occur in the world? How do we look at the world around us and the future of this planet and all that is on it? Not just humanity, but all life. How do we look at it? How do we treat it when we do so through the eyesight, through the insight, through the energy of gentleness? How do we elevate and rise in gentleness in nature and as a universal community, as the embodiment of the divine? How do we rise? How do we elevate in gentleness, which is loving, supportive, and nurturing? How do we bring those same tools into every activity of our own lives? What does it mean for us to be loving moment by moment in our regular everyday lives? What does it mean to be supportive moment by moment in our everyday lives? What does it mean to be nurturing moment by moment in our everyday lives? The tools of this whole idea, the tools of this teaching shouldn't just be relevant or relegated to just this one specific area. Meditation shouldn't just be what you do when you're sitting on your meditation cushion at 6 a.m. or 7 p.m. or meditation should be how you live your life in general, to such a degree that while sitting at a red light, boom, drop in, even for a moment. The light's not going to be there for 30 minutes. It's not going to be red for 30 minutes. It shouldn't be red for 30 minutes. But drop into that moment, that 3 breaths of meditation, mindfulness, not just on the cushion, but in traffic, while standing in line in the grocery store, waiting for the next, for the next, for the next, for the next. No, drop in. The tools should be relevant and applicable throughout our lives. How do we use the principles of science of mind and spirit throughout our lives? How do we celebrate all of the quote unquote wins of life? What does it even mean to celebrate a win? Have you forgiven someone? That's a win. Have you gone to a therapist? That's a win. Have you gone to an AA meeting? That's a win. Have you shown up at a CSL or a Unity somewhere, even if just as a visitor? That's a win. Have you taken a class? That's a win. Did you finish the class? That's a win. Did you treat yourself to breakfast or lunch or something good, delicious today? Then that's a win. There are all kinds of wins. Any moment when we are anchored and steeped in principle and truth and love, it's a win. Breathe. Now, it's important to remember, to realize, to understand that in celebrating and honoring the win, we don't deny, we don't bypass that there are struggles, that there's pain, that there is grief, that there is sadness, that there is anger. We don't deny it, we don't bypass it, but we navigate it. We do what we need to do to navigate it. If you're on a boat and there's a storm, or you're in an airplane and there's a storm, there's turbulence. The pilot or the captain doesn't simply, there is no storm, and keep on going. No, they recognize there is a storm. Now I step into a different way of navigating the air, of navigating the seas, so that the storm, the struggles, the pains, the grief of life does not overtake the boat, does not overtake the airplane, does not overtake my life. How do we navigate through all of this? How do we do it individually? How do we do it collectively in community? How do we do it collectively as the body of humanity? How do we do it emotionally, psychologically, spiritually, socially? How do we do it in all of these ways? Once again, the tools of spirit should be applicable and relevant in all of these areas. So we remember that life is much bigger, in capital L life, as you see on the screen, capital L life. Remember that life, there's only one life, and that life is God, is bigger than what you see on the news, social media trends, various forecasts and predictions while we are doing this work, taking it to the street. Breathe. Cosmic. What does cosmic mean to you? Because once again, today we are referencing gentle cosmic-ness. So when we talk about this, we're talking about this power that is infinite, that is global, that is measureless, without limit, without bound. It is inclusive, it is universal, and what it is, you are. So how do you live this global, right? You are a global power. You are an inclusive power that is incarnating as you. How do you express this in a gentle manner? How do you walk that walk in a gentle manner? One of my favorite Marvel comic book characters is the Silver Surfer. And his main power is that he channels, harnesses, controls all cosmic energy. And yet, he does so with gentleness. Just like, think about Superman, because you may be more familiar with Superman. You know how strong Superman is, right? I mean, you know how strong Superman is. And yet Superman can pick up a telephone without crushing it. Superman can give a hug without suffocating and crushing someone. But he's so strong, he can lift an oil tanker, and he can do this, and he can do that, and he's strong, and yes. But he has a gentle cosmic-ness. He has a gentle use, a gentle embodiment of his power. How do you channel your power in a gentle, loving, supportive, and nurturing way? Now, throughout history, there have been these quote unquote wise individuals. So recognizing that you are such a wise individual, you are wisdom expressing. And in that, recognizing that you are more than you may feel. You are more than you may believe at any given moment. See, you can believe that you're a failure. You can feel like a failure. Yet there is this wisdom, this innate divine wisdom that reminds you you are so much more than just that feeling. You are so much more than just that experience. Even this body, you are so much more than just this body. You are this cosmic, infinite, measureless power encapsulated in this form, in these words, these thoughts. But you are so much more than that. And so this is the invitation into greater cosmic awareness of that which is the truth of who and what you are. How do we practice being in the space of this truth more often so that when something happens and the thought, I'm such a failure, it is immediately offset, or we shrink the space between, and yet, this is what I feel. I recognize that I need not identify myself solely by what I feel. I need not identify myself solely by this experience or this condition. I am so much more. How do we create the environment that we are walking the walk of this truth more often? Now, that doesn't mean that this other stuff isn't going to show up. Oh, yeah, it's more than likely it will. And yet, when it does, just like, what are the odds that you will never get caught in the rain ever again? It's pretty slim. I mean, if you go outside and you live your life, chances are you're going to get caught in the rain. Well, will you get wet if you're caught in the rain? Well, I mean, you have ways of making sure that you don't get drenched and whatnot. You have umbrellas and a raincoat. But does the umbrella or the raincoat stop it from raining? No. So we can have the practice, the mindfulness, the meditation, the prayer. It doesn't stop the rain from happening, but it can stop or shift how we are affected by the rain, the struggles of life. And I'm just using rain as an analogy because rain isn't bad, even though the weather people will say, and today is going to be a miserable day with lots of rain. That's bless them. But the practice, being aligned with truth, gives us a way of navigating through whatever that is, no matter what it is. Dr. Holmes reminds us, there is something about you and me that is cosmic. It is universal. It stretches over time and space. Let us learn to think better of ourselves. We are not small. We are not insignificant. We are not failures. We are not sinners. We are not broken. We are not any of these things that we have been conditioned to believe that we are. Let us learn to think better of ourselves. Better does not mean superior, as I am above you or above them, or it is think better of yourself in the way that when we are sick, we want to get better. Let us learn to think more healthy of ourselves. Let us learn to think more wellness of ourselves. Let us learn to think more authentic of ourselves. Let us learn to think more divine of ourselves. That's what better means. Let us learn to think that which is the truth of ourselves more often. because there is that which we are that is cosmic, it is universal, it is beyond space and time, it is beyond life and death as duality. It is simply life. It is simply the universality of spirit. It is all there is. Let us learn to think of ourselves as it. Breathe. Let us learn to think of ourselves as love, not just as people who love someone or love something, but we ourselves are love. We ourselves are peace and grace and joy and imagination and power. We are the very embodiment of it. That the cells of your body are made up of love and joy and peace. All that you are is it. You are a cosmic, powerful, divine energy incarnating in the form that you call the body, personality, character, traits, habits, etc. And yet, even with that, we are so much more than that. What do we say in our Declaration of Principles? We believe in the eternality, the immortality, and the continuity of the individual spirit, individual soul, forever and ever expanding. But we could say the same thing. We believe in the eternality, the cosmicality, the cosmic-ness that is beyond space and time, that is beyond simple form and feeling. It is the all that is, and it is individualizing itself right now as me. And this, that is the truth of me, is eternal and immortal. Breathe. And let us learn to think better of ourselves. Life is not just something to be endured, to be tolerated. It is to be lived in joy, to be lived in a fullness without limitation, without limit. I place no value on anything unless it brings gladness, love, friendship, the ability to laugh, and makes me feel that every person I meet, if I knew them, I would love them. That is the life we are invited to live. A life that is filled with joy, filled with infinite possibilities and the inevitabilities of love and magic and laughter and all that makes us feel good and nurtured and supported, even while navigating the yuck and the muck of life. There will continue to be some form of challenge, right? We're not meant to just sit by and be blobs of. There's going to be challenge. Now, when I say challenge, I don't mean things like there's always going to be war. No, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about racism and sexism, etc. I'm talking about playing chess is not part of the joy of playing chess, the challenge that comes with having an opponent sitting on the other side of the chessboard who can meet you. That's a challenge. Working out in the gym, if lifting all the weights were like, "Ooh, this is so easy." Wow. Why are you going there? What's the point? The muscles grow because of the challenge. So challenge is not the enemy. What we're talking about is how do we walk the walk of life in a way where we partner with and through the challenge to navigate whatever the challenge is, a challenge of finances, a challenge of health, a challenge of sadness and grief, a challenge of whatever that is. When we are moving and being in this space of life is not simply something to be endured, but life is to be lived. Life is to be experienced in joy, in the fullness of all that it offers, as a loving, supportive, and nurturing power. Now, let's say, if I were to ask you, looking at your own life, do you live in joy? Do you live in such a way that you see the other, you see the stranger, you see the opponent through and with the eyes of love and life and joy and oneness, in a way where even if there is dislike, which we said a couple of weeks ago, even if there is dislike, there is still love. Now, someone may be asking, well, why would I like something? So I didn't like the fact that my parents were alcoholics. Didn't like that. I didn't like what the alcohol made them do in terms of how it affected their bodies and their moods, etc. I did not like that. I did not like how, when they were drunk, how they treated me. I did not like how they treated each other. I did not like it. But I learned to forgive and I learned to love in spite of. I learned to separate who they are from what they do. And I don't have to like the behavior. I can still love the person. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about condoning non-life affirming behavior, atrocious behavior, damaging behavior. But we are talking about loving the person, loving them as a divine incarnation of God who, for whatever reason, is acting in this manner. But do I have enough love? Or am I applying love in a way where I don't judge me? I don't equate like love, conditionality, and with myself. How do I get into a space of more love, compassion, gentleness for myself, to then be able to bring it out into the world as the way I take it to the streets? When someone looks at me, do they say, wow, Ray really enjoys life? Or do they look at me and say, I really don't want to be around him. He is such a drain. He is an energetic vampire. He is so toxic and just he brings me, he's like he's got a dark cloud of doom and gloom over his head, and I don't want to be around that. Is that what they get from me? That they avoid me? Or do I offer and bring greater joy and playfulness and laughter and light and possibility into the space? Simply, do I live with everyday joy? A joy that is non-conditional, where I don't say, well, I wait for my birthday to be in joy. I wait for special holidays to be in joy. I wait for people to give me gifts to be in joy. What about the everyday joy of sipping a cup of coffee or tea? The everyday joy of sitting in front of the television and harassing Tracy about Barrymore, step your feet. That's a Paramount TV commercial with Patrick Stewart, if you don't know. It's one of my favorite lines. And Tracy hears that phrase,
Well, almost every day. I'm gonna say almost every day, but nonetheless, the everyday joy of saying, I love having highlighters so that when I am reading a book, I'm able to highlight stuff to go back. It's an everyday joy. I love these things. I enjoy having access to them, the ability to use them. What brings you everyday joy? I love listening to the wind chimes that are outside the house. It brings me joy to just listen to them and recognize the harmony of life itself. There is only one life. This life is God. This life is perfect, beautiful, powerful, joyous, loving. This life is my life now. This life is your life now. This life is all life now. And it being that, how does that show up in your day to day, taking it to the streets, the day to day, gentle cosmic-ness that is living, moving, and having its beingness as you in all that you do? What does it look like? Dr. Holmes says, I think love is the only security there is in the universe. I mean, there is nothing worthwhile without it. We must have love and have love for everybody, for everything. And by everything, I don't mean have love for war. I don't mean everything like that. I mean, have love for the trees and the plants and the bees. Have love for everything. Have love for everyone and everything to such a degree that we love war into extinction by loving peace so much that it dominates and proliferates the collective consciousness, that no one on the face of the planet has any use for the consciousness of war, oppression, greed, etc. How do we love to such a degree that love as the greatest security, the only security, as Dr. Holmes says, that love as the only security that is the universe itself, love that makes all that we do worthwhile? How do we live in such a way that that is the love that courses through our veins? That is the love that resonates through our voices. That is the love that makes the eardrums vibrate, sending those words and sounds to the brain. That love is the love that the deaf people receptively receive through the signs that others give. That is the love that we communicate in how we show up. So when someone says to you, I love you, do you say, or do you think, do you? Do they? Do they really? Do they really love me? Do you doubt the love when someone says, I love you? What makes you doubt it? Do you withhold your I love you because there's some level of you that is unwilling to give that to another? Why not love freely, love openly, without reservation? Just love. You don't need to know them to love them. I mean, so if I ask you, so who do you love? Do you have children that you love, siblings that you love, parents that you love? Who do you love? Pets that you love? Who do you love? Now, why do you love them? What is it about you that loves them? It's not about them. There's something about you that you love them. Because if you say, well, I love them because they're nice, conditional. I love them because of how they treat me, conditional. I love them because it's my mom, conditional. Because what if you didn't know that that was your mom? What if she wasn't your mom? You wouldn't love her then? Well, I mean, I would if, versus I love you because I know that you are a divine incarnation of love. Settle in. Because there are people that love is not always reciprocal. Is there someone that you love that you don't feel that love being given back? And you may say, well, yeah, I can think of a bunch of people that I express love, but I don't receive it back. Okay. Do you have to receive it back in order to still give? Does love have to be, does it have to be reciprocated in that way? If love is all that is, and it's always, because it's all that is, and it's always present, by giving love, I don't somehow have less love to give. It's not like money. If I have $100 and I give 50 of it away, I only have 50 left. There's a quantifiable limitation to the number of dollars and cents in my bank account. Well, your spirit doesn't have that quantifiable limitation of number. It doesn't have that. And the funny thing is, the more love you give, the more capacity you have to love, because you are stretching the container to be able to encompass and nurture and cultivate and spread more and more and more and more love to such a degree. What the world has now is more love, sweet love, simply because each of us is willing to offer it, to share it, to give it without condition. Once again, this does not mean that we are condoning the Jeffrey Dahmers. It does not mean we are condoning the Hitlers. It does not mean we are condoning them for their behavior and the atrocities that they committed. It does not mean we are condoning that. It means we love them as human beings, and we love them with an energy that transforms and heals. This is the intention and the goal, that transforms and heals, to transform and heal the behavior, that it goes from that which is life denying to life affirming. How else do you rehabilitate anyone who goes to jail if you don't truly love and want the best for them? See, that's why our current penitentiary system warehouses people, treats them like animals, because we don't love them enough to treat them in a humane way, to offer them the tools and the resources to truly transform, to be healed. Whether they stay in jail for the rest of their life or not is not the issue, because they may very well, holding them accountable, serve the duration of their prison sentence, 326 years. But that does not mean we need to treat them like an animal for those 326 years. It does not mean we deny them their humanity, that we do not offer them the tools of transformation, that we offer them rehabilitation. It doesn't mean we don't offer that. It doesn't mean we don't provide the structures and the systems for that. Love says that we do precisely that. even with that which we don't like, even with that which is the bad behavior, the unacceptable behavior. Now, it is very uncomfortable to love people to that degree, but life, as Neil Donald Walsh says, life begins at the end of your comfort zone. So, regarding love, do you know where the boundary is of your comfort zone to where that much love in that direction is uncomfortable? That much love in that direction is uncomfortable. Loving them makes me uncomfortable, but loving them expands your life. Loving them expands your life. Loving them expands you as life. Breathe. There's an old Arabian proverb that I used to teach my Kung Fu students way back in the 80s. He who knows not and knows not that he knows not is a fool. Shun him. Now, because if we're loving people, we're not shunning people, but for the sake of the proverb, what it means is see them, trust them. When someone shows you who they are in this moment, believe them. It's a rattlesnake. I'm going to believe it. It's a rattlesnake. And I'm going to treat it and move around it in such a way because I know what it is and what it's capable of. So if they know not and know not that they know not, why am I going to them for advice? He who knows not and knows that he knows not is a student. Teach him. I know that there are things that I don't know. I know that I don't know it all. I'm not a know-it-all. Tracy would disagree and say, but he thinks he is. Come on now, Uber Eats, leave me alone. And when the student is ready, the teacher will appear, but the student has to be someone who says, I don't know how to do sculpture. I want to learn. Then your teacher, your master, your whatever that guide will teach you how to sculpt or photography or martial arts or whatever it is. But it's the person who knows that there is that which they don't know. And then there are those who know. He who knows and knows not that he knows is asleep. Wake him. Neo from the Matrix is a great example. He who knows but doesn't know that he knows, that's why Morpheus, the god of sleep, had to awaken Neo, give him the possibilities, the right training and environment for Neo to awaken to the truth of, I do know. I am the one. And then he interacted with Agent Smith in a very different way. And then lastly, we have he who knows and knows that he knows is wise. Follow him. So the person that knows the truth, lives by the truth, is known by the fruit that they bear, that they show up as. That person is wise. We should follow that person. Now, how do we identify where in this are we? And how do we navigate in such a way that we are student, we are awake, we are wise, we know when to lead, we know when to follow, because we are living based upon the principles. In the film Men in Black, the character Kay said, 1,500 years ago, everybody knew the earth was the center of the universe. And 500 years ago, everybody knew the earth was flat. And yet their knowing was proven to be incorrect. So be mindful of what we claim that we know or we think we know, and imagine what you'll know tomorrow. Right here and right now, we know that war is a thing. Right here and right now, we know that racism is a thing. But imagine what it would mean to know peace and peacefulness and gentleness, love that reigns over the entire planet and the collective consciousness. How do we know that for our own selves and our own individual lives to such a degree that that is the energy that now ripples out? So when we pause and we stop to think about our lives and we think about life in general, there is only one life and that life is God. And we pause and we think, let us be a person who is comfortable asking, seeking, and exploring. A person being in the space of the unknown, the I don't know, pause. As we stop to think, don't always think about, I have to know, but think about in the space of. There are many ways to know. There are many ways to experience. There are many ways to be the expression of. So it's possible to be in the mystery rather than forcing an answer. But we have to be comfortable asking more effective questions. There's I think it's season 4 of the HBO Max series True Detective, or season 5. And now I can't think of the woman's name. Silence of the Lambs, Agent Starling, Jodie Foster. It stars Jodie Foster. And Jodie Foster is a sheriff who consistently tells people, ask not that question, ask the question, or ask the right question, or ask a better question. We have to be a person who is comfortable asking, seeking, going further, exploring more, being in that space of the unknown, the space of I don't know, the space of mysterious chaos. Because that space of the mysterious chaos is the space of creativity and the space of imagination. That is the birthplace of the miraculous magic of life. See, in our imagination, we can imagine anything. That means it's limitless. How do we enter into the space of the mysterious chaos of that which is without limit in order to bring the miraculous and the magical into our lives as the expression of our lives? The Science of Mind textbook and the teaching itself are meant to be a living document. This is why we are encouraged to be open at the top and open at the bottom. We are called to be in the space and the energy of the cosmic, the space and the energy of the infinite, global, measureless, inclusive, universal wonderment of life. This call is also found in how we push the boundaries of the status quo. That would rather we accept and not ask. That we would receive and not seek. That we would follow the rules even when those rules are inhumane, unethical, and life-denying. We are to move beyond, to embody the cosmic, to live it, to move as it, to be it in all ways, always. Breathe. How do we step into the space to always be the embodiment of the divine in all of the ways that we show up in our lives, that we show up in the world, as a living document of spirit, as a living document of love? This week's affirmation or declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, say it with me on the second go round. Love itself is the activity and healing power that is my life and service in the world. Together. Love itself is the activity and healing power that is my life and service in the world. And so it is. This week's journal questions and Thursday night study group questions. How do you feel about the idea that life is always working out? Do you believe it? Do you agree with it? Do you disagree? How would you describe what gentleness looks like when practiced in daily life and activities of life, especially the difficult ones? 3. What is or who is someone you used to know? No, that should be something. What is something you used to know that you now know was not accurate? Santa Claus. I now know that what I used to know about or believe about it is not accurate. What is something you used to know? What is something you used to know? Like, I know this, that you now know was not accurate, but you believed it anyway. You knew it anyway. What changed the known then to the new known now, or your new now knowing? Number 4. How can you bring more gentle cosmic-ness into your life? How much joy is in your life? And how can you increase the amount of it? Lastly, what was one thing in any of the messages for the month of April that caused some level of discomfort? Remember, we're stepping out of the comfort zone. That caused some level of discomfort to surface. What was it specifically about it that stirred the discomfort? And did it challenge you, or in what way did it challenge you? Breathe. As we enter into that space of prayer, simply recognizing and knowing that the isness and allness that is life itself, God, source, spirit, all there is right here, right now, incarnating itself in, through, and as each and every one of us. This cosmic power showing up in, through, and as each one of us, the cosmic-ness of the universe, individualizing itself as me. The cosmic-ness that is the universe itself is incarnating itself as me. And I gently bring this cosmic-ness into all areas of my life. And knowing that as I say, I and me and my, I speak this for everyone watching, everyone joining. whether it's live right now or whether it's the recording later. What is true about me is true about we. So I practice this gentle cosmic-ness in all of the areas, all of the ways that I live my life, that I walk the walk, that I show up in the world. Where people would say, wearing their emotions on their sleeve. I wear my cosmic-ness on my face. I wear it on my body. I wear it as the divine cloak of love, compassion, gentleness, nurturing, support, unified harmony, oneness, and all of the other qualities of the divine. I wear the garment with appreciation and gratitude. I wear it with pride and power, knowing that it is the truth of my being. And the more I do this, the more I walk that walk and live this cosmic-ness out loud, the more it inspires and infects others to awaken to their own spiritual magnificence, so that they too put on the garment, recognize the garment that is their own cosmic-ness, that is their own divinity, individualizing itself as them. So I breathe gratitude, knowing that the law is already in motion, already said yes, and still saying yes, and that all of creation is moving, shifting, and doing whatever needs to be done in order for this prayer, this word, this message to manifest. There is nothing that can hinder the truth and principle that is God in expression. And so I know that the consciousness of war is already extinct. The consciousness of racism is already extinct. As I live, move, and have my beingness as a transformative, healing power and presence, walking the walk, demonstrating gentle cosmic-ness in all that I am, all that I think, all that I say, all that I feel, and all that I do. It is answered prayer, and it is done. And so it is. And so it is. Much love, appreciation, and blessings, and we will see you soon in the month of May. Blessings, everyone.